What would you do if you saw a figure in a cemetery that only appeared on your phone screen, but vanished when you looked up? Tonight's story comes from a cemetery manager, someone who had an unforgettable encounter during a stormy funeral service. A tale that blurs the line between the living and the dead. And even now, it still sends shivers down my spine every time I tell it. I've been a cemetery operations coordinator, or as I like to call a cemetery manager, for over a decade. My job involves everything from arranging funerals to helping families choose burial plots. It's a role that requires compassion, patient times, and strong stomach for the unexpected. But nothing could have prepared me for what happened on that stormy afternoon. It all started when a man named Antonio came to my office to purchase a plot for his father, who was in hospice care. Antonio was in his 30s, a deeply spiritual man with a thick accent and a kind heart. He showed me pictures of his father, a sweet-looking man, someone who seemed far too young to be facing the end. Antonio's eyes were filled with pain, but also love. He wanted everything to be perfect for his dad's final resting place. A week later, Antonio's father passed away. The funeral was scheduled for a stormy day in early March. Some people believe a rainy funeral is a sign of good luck, a blessing from the heavens. But as the day unfolded, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. The funeral procession arrived at the cemetery. I stepped outside under the awning to greet them. The rain was coming down in sheets. The wind howled like a wounded animal. I saw Antonio in the car behind the hearse. We exchanged a brief wave. I could see the grief etched on his face, and my heart ached for him. After the service at the gravesite, I did my usual rounds in the cemetery truck, checking to make sure everything was in order. The storm had turned the grounds into a muddy mess. The darkness was closing in fast. By the time I finished, it was well past closing time, and the cemetery was supposed to be empty. As I drove toward the front gate to lock up, I thought I saw someone walking hurriedly down one of the lanes of tombstones. My headlights caught a glimpse of a figure. Before it disappeared behind a hedge, I honked the horn, thinking maybe a visitor had lost track of time, but there was no response. I couldn't just leave without checking. Grabbing my umbrella, I stepped out into the rain and made my way to the spot where I'd seen the figure. The storm made it hard to see. The sound of the rain hitting the ground drowned any footsteps. I called out, "Hello, is anyone there?" But only the wind answered. I searched for a good 20 minutes, my shoulders sinking into the mud, my clothes soaked through. But there was no one, no trace, no footprints, nothing. Reluctantly, I returned minded racing with questions. Back inside, I pulled up the CCTV footage, hoping to catch a glimpse of the person I'd seen. But the storm had made the footage grainy, hard to decipher. I scanned through the recordings but there was no sign of anyone wandering the grounds. Just as I was about to chalk it up to my imagination, I heard the front door to the visitation room slam shut. The sound echoed through the empty building. I froze. "Hello," my voice, trembling answer. I stepped into the lobby, my heart pounding. The room was empty, but the air felt heavy, charged with an energy I couldn't explain. Then, I saw him. Standing in the lane was an older man, was staring directly at me with a blank expression. My ran cold. It was Antonio's father, the man we had just buried. I ran outside, my umbrella forgotten, but he was gone. No trace, no footprints in the mud, nothing. I stood there in the rain, soaked, shaking, and before locking up and driving home, when my wife asked why I was so quiet, I just said it had been a long day. To this day, I tell myself it was exhaustion playing tricks on me. But deep down, I know what I saw. The memory of that blank stare still haunts me, and I can't help but wonder if the storm that day wasn't just a sign of good luck, but something far more ominous. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments. What do you think happened that night? Was it just my imagination, or something supernatural? Stay tuned for more eerie tales.